Europe is rising up against COVID-19 mandatory vaccines, vaccine passports, and vaccines for kids in order to go back to school. I'm Ben Swan in Madrid, Spain, where just hours ago there was a massive protest here. Tens of thousands of people turning out and saying no to those vaccine passports. We're going to show you video from here. By the way, it's not just here. We're talking about France, we're talking about Italy, we're talking about Greece, all across the continent. People are standing up and saying no. And yet the mainstream media, they're not going to cover this. We will. I'm Ben Swan, and this is Truth in Media. Hey guys, welcome to the show. I actually came here to Europe to see what's going on across the continent in terms of people standing up against vaccinations, forced vaccinations, and COVID passports. What a time to come here, because what I found after getting here is not only is that happening, it's happening to an immense degree. Take a look at this. This was the scene here in Spain just hours ago as tens of thousands of people turned out to protest mandatory COVID vaccinations, COVID passports, and those who marched were marching against forcing kids to be vaccinated before they go to school. But it wasn't just here in Madrid where these protests were happening. Hundreds of thousands of protesters turned out in cities across Europe, including London, in Dublin, in Paris, in Rome, in Athens. Some of the most powerful demonstrations happened in France, where demonstrators actually had tear gas fired at them by riot police. Police actually pushed back demonstrators in some parts of the city, and there were also scuffles between police and demonstrators. In France, the reason for the protest in part was because of pending legislation in France's parliament that would set up a vaccine passport system within the country, as well as implement a vaccination mandate for all healthcare workers. In Italy, it was much of the same thing, as thousands of Italian demonstrators gathered in Rome, Naples, Verona, and Milan on July 24th. In Verona, thousands chanted "No Green Pass," referring to the Italian government's decision to implement a vaccine passport-like system for people to enter local fairs, stadiums, theaters, or other gathering areas. London also drew massive anti-vaccine demonstrations, with protesters once again waving flags and singing songs. Not only are people standing up, but they're doing so to the tune of hundreds of thousands. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here, this is the new global activists, the new global protest movement. But you better believe this, mainstream media, broadcast media, they're not going to cover it. They're not going to tell you that this is happening. They're terrified of what's happening right now. Hundreds of thousands of people collectively coming together. And here in Spain, one of the things that was being said is that if all the people come together, no government, they cannot stand against us if the people are united. That's what they were chanting here in Madrid just hours ago. And it is the idea of that needs to continue to spread across the world. It's absolutely correct. The last thing I tell you is that the languages in all these places may change, but the words do not. Libertad here in Spain, or liberté in France, or liberty in English. It doesn't matter how you say it. The reality is that is the mantra of this movement, the new global activist movement for freedom. I'll see you next time.